Hello, thanks for joining me here in Capel Kiddig. I'm at home relaxing this evening. It's been a bit of a grotty day, but it's breaking now. I can just see Carnell Llewellyn out the window, and tomorrow looks like it's going to be a good day, so I should be able to get out and do something. Anyway, this video is called The Day I Became a Photographer, which is a little bit disingenuous as a title because it wasn't until a couple of years later that I really decided that I wanted to be a photographer. But it was this day, which I'll describe, that made me realise that the medium of photography... Oh, I just got a Facebook notification. The medium of photography might be a really good one to use in expressing my love for the hills. So let me tell you about the day. It was New Year's Eve, 2008. And me and my best friend Jamie Griggs, we were staying at the Aonach hut in Ballahoolish, which is in between Glen Coe and Fort William. And we'd planned to go and do the Aonach Eagach, the legendary ridge above Glen Coe. So we got up really early in the morning, had a breakfast as much as we could stand in the darkness, made our way into Glen Coe, left the car, and in the dark we went up onto Aonach. You will have to forgive my pronunciation of the Scottish names, although I've heard that they do argue about it from glen to glen, so it's not like here in Wales where there is a very definite way of pronouncing things. But I digress. It wasn't looking particularly favourable, but we were committed. We'd come a long way to do the Aonach Eagach, so we were going to do it anyway. But just maybe 20 minutes before dawn, the thick cloud above us, we walked into it and it looked like it was going to be pretty grim. And then imperceptibly it got lighter and lighter and lighter until we stepped out onto Aonach's summit. And above the clouds we strode, and we just knew that it was going to be one of them days. As far as the eye could see, from Craigmeggy, Schiehallion, Ben Lomond, all the way to the peaks of Ardgour, Ben Nevis and beyond, we were above an absolutely incredible temperature inversion. It was unbelievable. And before we began our traverse, we just stood there looking at each other, laughing, and we could not believe what we were about to experience. The north side of the ridge was covered in hoarfrost and ice. The south side was clear of any kind of snow or anything like that, and it was warm and vibrant. We did the down climb off Aonach, which a lot of people call the entrance exam. If you can do that down climb, then there's a good chance you'll get across the ridge. Okay. We had a rope with us, but didn't feel we needed it. And we scooted on up to the first Munro, Mael Gerag. Just before we left Mael Gerag, I took a photograph, which in 2012, when I did consider myself a photographer, got into the book Landscape Photographer of the Year. It was a commended image. Now this photograph was taken on a Samsung L830. I'll show you the main image I'm talking about at the very end. It was a Samsung L830 and it cost me £60 from somewhere like Argos or somewhere. But it just goes to show you don't need good gear. You just got to be there. Quite good composition, the shot, especially for someone who didn't class themselves as a photographer, but I had been doing watercolour painting for a while, so I'd learnt about the principles of composition and developed my eye that way, so in putting an image together it didn't seem too tricky, it was quite intuitive. Anyway, we left Mael Gerag, got started on the ridge proper. It was like being in two different worlds. We would dip into an icy col into the cloud with visibility of less than 10 metres, only to emerge again into a sunlit world, you know, an authentic mountain heaven. It was absolutely wonderful. Everything was going absolutely fine, and then we came to the crazy pinnacles, which are two rotten teeth. For this we roped up, because we had to traverse them on the north side and they were covered in verglass, so they're quite insecure. I led, we got past them, I brought Jamie up, and then he went up the next pitch. I followed and we dispensed with the rope. We thought that was all the difficulties behind us. And we trotted on our way as if in a dream. It was 12 years ago, and it's still as fresh in my mind now as it was on that day. I've had literally thousands of days on the hills in the past 20 years. So a lot of them kind of merge together, you know. But every now and then one comes along which stays with you forever. And that day on the Aonach Eagach was one of them days. Anyway, we trotted along. Got to something now, I think it's called the Great Tower. And that was all iced up as well, so we abseiled off that. And then there was one little tricky rock step, and then it was on to the next Munro. I think there's a top first, and then the next Munro was Sgurnan Fianni. And we got onto that just as the sun was about to set. We were tired, but we were elated. And as the sun set, we shook hands, Jamie and I, and made our way down to the col in between the pap of Glen Coe and Sgurnan Fianni. It didn't matter what happened then, we'd done it. We'd had a great day. We fumbled down in the dark to the Clackaig Inn, kind of thinking we'd get a lift back up the glen, but we didn't. We walked up the glen back to the car, and I think, if I remember rightly, car to car it was a 13-hour day. But what a day. What a day. Here's the image that was commended in Photographer of the Year 2012. See you soon.